Now, I can't believe we're doing this 2 nights in a row, but in New Zealand, they are about to have a referendum about whether or not to legalise the recreational use of cannabis. Well, the Victorian Parliament is sitting for the 1 day and 1 day only before they go away, come back next year, with a whole new parliament put in place. And an idea is being put forward by somebody who I don't have a lot of time for politically anymore, but the idea is to turn Victoria into the place that has legalised euthanasia, to be the place that now legalises the recreational use of pot.
Good thing that, by the end of this term we will have legal cannabis to push forward on a new approach to drug use and drug regulation in Victoria.
Before we get to some interesting photos of you, Steve Dickson, you've obviously championed when it came to things like the medicinal use. Where are you on the slow march towards not just decriminalisation, but the full-on regulation and taxation of this stuff?
Paul, I'm probably of a couple of minds because I like the idea of the income stream. I've watched what's gone on around the world, and I think we don't want to get too carried away because the federal United States government has not approved cannabis at all over there. It's individual states have done that, and we've still, the jury's out. My big push has been absolutely crystal clear. It's been about medical cannabis, and we've got a lot of facilities now starting to grow this in Australia. I was at one yesterday and it looks absolutely fantastic, and some pictures you do have there, it shows how well it's going. But the issue that we're going to face, the legislators haven't got it right yet to allow people to get access to medical cannabis. So why would you ever let those same bureaucrats try to get out there and run pot to be sold potentially to children, potentially to anybody, because alcohol's available to just about anybody who wants to get it. I don't think we're ready to do this yet. I think we've got to get medical cannabis in line. We've got to make sure that sick and dying people can get their hands on that through a doctor's prescription and given out by a chemist. We're not there yet, so I'm not prepared to go out and put my hand on my heart and say it's ready to go, let's do this today. But let's wait and see where we go with the medical cannabis, and if it all works well and it proves to be safe and it proves to be good for the Australian people, let's have a look at this later on down the track, but they're not going to get my vote at the moment.
No, I'm fascinated by the point you just made about the regulation that is not quite up to scratch for access to medicinal cannabis. We're talking about the cannabis oils as well as the ability to smoke, all the rest of it here. Where are we going wrong? Why have they not done what seems to be obvious? I thought we had made some big strides in the past 12 months about access to medical cannabis.
Paul, we have, and the government's doing pretty well, but it's pretty simple. They've just got to move it from Schedule 8 to Schedule 4. Schedule 8 is a dangerous drug. Schedule 4 is not. It's the same as any other pharmaceutical drug you can get that you need a prescription from your local GP. I mean, we've all got to, we've all been around a little while. How many people have died from smoking pot? Let alone this is now made into a drug that it's done in a facility that is clean, so there's no mould involved. It's done in a professional basis. And this is going to be for people that are being, treated for epilepsy, Alzheimer's. This will help people that are having chemotherapy. It creates an appetite, gives them pain relief. I mean, I really believe this is a drug of the future that's actually come from the past. It was readily available before the 1940s. It had been used for hundreds of years. But we've got to a point in history now where it was taken off the market for some reason or another. And I think that may have had to do with money and pharmaceutical companies. And we used to make clothing out of this, rope, sails, a whole lot of stuff. And they may be able to make fuel out of it as well. So, there's a lot of opportunities. But tonight we're talking about medical cannabis, why it should be made available to the people of Australia, and it gets down to legislators. They're just not prepared to move it from Schedule 8 to Schedule 4. It's that simple.
All right, well, we may follow that through the system next year.